goes to Clemson 3 years and in 3 years takes the all-time, even to date, scoring record. What was it? 76 goals.
You'll never see like that again.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, one thing, people look at the goal scoring, but people don't look at the people that are providing the opportunity.
Yada. No. I'm for real too.
I was a box forward, dude. I was a box forward.
Listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Crack Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Crack Podcast, Season 2. I'm on Mabricio Mookie Wilson with my other two co-hosts, Mr. Damarcus Beasley and Oguchi Onyewu.
There we go. I like that. Short and sweet.
That was corny. It was corny. I didn't like it.
Why not?
Listen, we're so happy to be here today. We have a great guest on, Mr. Wolde Harris, former Jamaican Reggae Boys national team player, MLS superstar, and currently the assistant coach of Colorado Rapids. He's definitely a friend to the room and somebody that I think you guys need to know more about. But fellas, how you feeling?
Tired.
I'm good. What you tired for?
Man, I'm old.
He ain't got no kids.
Right?
He don't got a job.
Why are you tired? I don't have a job either.
Dude, one of us have a job right now.
Dudes, real talk. Have you had an opportunity to apply for any jobs in the MLS or any clubs currently here in the United States?
Custodial? What? What job? When you say apply, with MLS or with all these jobs, it's not like they, post job openings. Hey,
okay.
Run off.
How does it work?
You got to know. You got to be in the know.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
That's it.
It is. I mean, I know you're looking for a more defined answer, but it's that simple.
That is what it is.
It is what it is.
Like, how did Carlos Bocanegra get the job at Atlanta?
Ask Carlos.
Okay, well, we got to have Carlos on. Carlos, we love to have you on. Bees, make that happen. Send a text. Let's get Carlos on board. But speaking of Mr. Bocanegra, U.S. national team has some games coming up. They're going to play versus Jamaica, and they're playing versus Northern Ireland in Europe. So it's going to be a very European-based squad, obviously. And for the most part, I mean, we can really sit here and see our whole first team of the U.S. men's national team is playing in Europe. And the guys are doing quite well. But we have some situations that I'd like to talk to you guys about, like Christian Pulisic in Chelsea right now. He's a player who has some injuries, has some situations where new coaches are coming in, new systems. Is he in trouble? Does he have an opportunity that he might even get released or sold? Is starting 11 not a possibility for him for this rest of the season?
Well, you say new style, but he coached him. Well, Tuchel, he coached him when he was in Dortmund.
Well, I don't know if that's the same,
but I mean, he knows. I'm sure he's kind of watched Christian.
Can that be good or bad though, Bees? You come to Chelsea, you're the big money man, and Tuchel might still look at him as the little pickney at Dortmund.
Nah, but I mean, I'm sure he's watched Christian and knows what he can do now. Especially last year when they came back after COVID, how he performed on the field. That's the Christian that we all know. Remember, you got to understand, players go through ups and downs, and this is a bit of a down moment for Christian. Is that saying that he's not a good player? He still can't produce what he did before? Of course not. I'm still behind Christian. I know he's going to make a big push to play more and show why Chelsea signed him. I have no doubts about that. I think he's still confident in himself, but he just got to get playing time and get that one goal, that one game that's going to put him over the top.
Right? Gooch, it's not like Christian had a poor game. He's not playing. The real is injuries and also opportunities.
Right.
Chelsea's
right.
Yeah, so I don't think anybody's questioning his ability or his talent, right? That's not in question. I don't think any coach is going to question that because they've seen what he's done in the last 3 years of his career, both with the national team in Germany and now in England. I think with what happens sometimes to these talents, I mean, and people are pegging Hazard like that. You know, he's just injury prone, whether it be muscles or stuff like that. You never can you don't want to be pegged as a player that can't complete a consistent run of games, right? If you can't play like 5 games in a row without an injury. No coach hopes for a star player to be that, right? So I think whatever Christian has picked up in the last couple of years, I think whether it's his body makeup or whatever, hopefully he gets it sorted because he has picked up quite a few nagging injuries in the last couple of years, and I say nagging because it's like, oh, that again, 4 weeks, that again, 3 weeks, that again, 2 weeks, so hopefully he can get over that hump, if you will, and not rush himself back to become more susceptible to future injuries. But, I don't have any doubt in my mind that if injuries aren't an issue, he's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, and then I did read somewhere that they said that he has some family issues too, so that's why he wasn't into a couple of games. So that could be, whatever that is, maybe mentally, that could be draining as well. So you never know what a player's going through. We just know what we see on the field. And I'll add, because I'm a Christian fan. I like Christian. I think he's a good player. Yeah, I like Christian. And when he did get that run of games under Lampard, when they weren't winning a game, he was the best player on the field.
Best player.
He was the most dangerous player on the field. I mean, I didn't get to see every single game, but I mean, I've read some comments under the Twitter feeds of Chelsea and some of the not so much the US soccer fans, but the Chelsea fans that are in England watching the games, and they're like, he's the most dangerous player on the pitch. Why is he not on the left? They're upset he's on the right side. He should be on the left side, and all this stuff. So I don't have
but
no.
The problem is
back.
that new coach. He don't remember what he did on the Lampard.
Oh yeah,
now,
of course.
Now they're winning. They just beat Liverpool, right? How does he crack that starting 11?
Yeah, but people are saying like he should transfer or go to another club and this and that.
If he can't crack that starting 11,
he will. He'll get it. But I'm saying he's good enough to get hit. He'll get his shot. Yeah. He'll get his shot. That's all I'm saying. If he wants to move in a year or wherever, that's up to him. But I don't think he needs to go anywhere at this point in time.
Besides his damn Chelsea fans, I keep on getting texts from Barcelona fans cursing out Serginho Dest. Everybody know Barcelona hasn't played the best football this season, and a lot of people are saying that Serginho Dest is not the answer at right back for Barcelona.
What do you think?
Those are the same people that were on. Those are the same people that were on his jock the first 4 games he played, right? Like fair weather fans, man. Like that's
a normal fan. That's a normal fan.
And these are diehard Barcelona fans saying, "Listen, this kid doesn't have it. He's not aggressive enough. He doesn't go forward enough. He's not assertive at the right back position." But again, they don't know what the coach is telling him. They don't know what the game plan for him at right back. But he is getting a lot of pressure, and they don't have any money, so he's kind of lucky that they can't just go buy the top right back to bring in like Arnold's from Liverpool. But
they can.
They'll find a way. Somebody will loan them some money.
Oh, they'll find a way. Bitcoin.
But then I look at Sergio, right? I look at Pulisic, but then you look at Weston McKennie, who's been a steady value for Juventus through the ups and downs, winning games, losing games. He's been steady.
It's a different league, man. It's a different kind of football that might be more suitable to Weston. Like we were saying in the not previous, but some episodes before that, Italy is very structured and it's very there's not a lot of players with the qualities that Weston has, who's like all the time. And that's what Pirlo loves about him. He said that the makeup of the team is completely different when Weston's in there versus when he's out of it. So maybe he just found like all the stars aligning and he found the perfect situation where Spain and England, it's a completely different, game of football.
So do you think, okay, let me ask you this, Gooch. So do you think if Weston would have went to Southampton, the other team that he was supposed to go to, he would have the same kind of success as he did in Juventus?
I'm not saying he would have had the same or wouldn't have it, but I'm saying I don't believe he would have stood out as much as he does in Italy, right? Because you see
is that because of the players that he's around, the players that he's playing with?
It could be the players around, but like, in England, like every midfielder is buzzing. They're running.
Yeah, sometimes you don't even see the ball. Back then when I was playing, you the midfield goes from here, goes back there, goes from there. I mean, this is back in 07, 08, that Man City team. You know what I'm saying? I ain't talking about the Man City now with Pep that play the ball and all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about before. Mm-hmm. So let me get that right. Let me get that so people don't start, oh, well, Man City. I'm a Man City fan, obviously. So, but I see what you're saying.
I think it suits him. It suits him great. He provides a dynamic that team and really that league doesn't truly have habitually, right? In England, you always see buzzing midfielders all the time, back and forth. Like they have an engine like no other. Yeah. In Italy, you don't necessarily see that player, right? So I think he found himself an ideal situation, and I'm congratulating him on making his deal permanent. Because that's not no small feat. That price tag.
Oh no, not at all.
That price tag wasn't Walmart. Right.
Well, I mean, that price tag for Juventus was like Walmart, I think. But for him to actually
that was Walmart for Juventus, man.
For you, I'm talking about. Okay, you gotta understand Juventus.
It's not like everybody on that starting lineup has a $22 million price tag. No.
What on Juventus?
Most of them do.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Most of them. Yes. All right. Who don't? Even the injury play. I mean, I know
you getting too far into football, man.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Hey, my CBS started about to come out for me.
You gonna start asking Gooch who's the right back of Juventus, and then
I'll be like Sergio Dest.
Look, he didn't say the name right. He said Sergio.
I said Sergio Dest. Man, get out of here.
But no, it's good to see Weston put in that work and show that he's a great player, and he's got a bright future for Juventus and for the national team. So I'm happy that he's doing his thing over in Europe. That's going to open more doors. He doesn't. I don't think he understands what he's doing right now. For American kids looking up, to being able to play in Europe one day. I don't think he understands what he's doing until he, obviously maybe in 20 years he'll understand. But he's doing a lot for the game of football in America, and I'm proud of him.
Somebody make sure you tag Weston McKennie and tell him get his ass over here on the podcast, our little brother. The time is coming up, so I think we got to put a little pressure, put him in the headlock, and get him in the room. But talking about U.S. soccer, gentlemen. U.S. soccer repeals policy requiring players to stand during the national anthem. At a virtual conference Saturday, the U.S. Soccer Federation's National Council voted to repeal a policy that had already been put on ice by the body's board of directors, making the repeal permanent. More than 70% of the ruling body voted in favor of the repeal. Multiple members spoke critically of the repeal before the vote, the most notable of which was seven-a-side paraplegic Seth John, who trotted out an outrageous speech claiming police brutality to be a myth and denying the impact of slavery in the United States. Gooch, you're part of this U.S. soccer policy.
Yeah, Gooch is ready for this.
Tell us what was going on during this whole situation, this virtual conference, on this vote that you had a vote on. When you heard this gentleman with this statement, what were you doing?
All right. First of all,
probably what are you doing now?
Honestly, when it came out, I wasn't ready for it, and I don't think anybody was, based on his opening statement saying he said something to the effect of, "I know I'm going to ruffle a lot of feathers, having that I'm on the athletes council." So once he said that, I was like, "Uh-oh, what's about to happen?" And then he made his statements that everybody has now seen or read or listened to or read, and honestly, I don't have any negativity towards people that are opposed to anything, right? So there's going to be people that are opposed to the repeal. There's going to be people that are for it. That's everybody's position, and you have the right to your position. His words and his rant went far beyond being opposed to something, to some really offensive ideologies that I just can't support. Right. And so everybody has the freedom of speech. Everyone has the freedom of expression and thought. And that's clear. And I'm for it 100%. He has the right to his beliefs. But what we just all don't have the right to is the freedom from consequence. And that's essentially what happened to him. He exercised his freedom. He said what he wanted to say. And essentially, us on the Athletes Council, we voted him off the council. Just like you work at Best Buy, you have the freedom of speech, you curse out a client, the consequences are you're probably going to get fired too, right? And so for me, anybody that, downplays the narrative of police brutality in America or doesn't substantiate it, it's crazy. And to say the least, I'm not even going to give him a platform to speak on him, but anybody, right? There's systemic issues in this country. And anybody that doesn't know that those issues started way back before, it wasn't just one incident. It's a systemic issue. It's a problem due to inherent overall issues within the system rather than just one individual or isolated factor, right? And the only way to change a systemic issue or problem is to change the structure of the organization or the policies in said organizations, right? And then that's the only way to correct it. And him or anybody else downplaying a systemic or police brutality in the history of the United States is ridiculous. Or even downplaying the effects of slavery, period. For me, I was just like, this is ridiculous. And I'm not gonna say he's whatever, but after that, I think everybody went a deep dive into this guy because I personally didn't know him personally, and I know a lot of people within U.S. Soccer has showed support for everything he said, which was for me.
Well, speaking about that, U.S. Soccer in a press conference after the meeting finished, board president Sidney Parlow Cone and Federation CEO Will Wilson said they hadn't heard all of John's remarks because of technical issues. Do you believe that?
That was it. That's the first time I ever heard that. Really?
When a reporter noted that John's speech included many white supremacist talking points, Parlow Cone reiterated she hadn't heard it, but added, "It is important to listen to different sides, whether it's comfortable or not. But there's absolutely no place for racist comments."
So, okay, Goose, let me understand. For me to understand this and for our viewers as well.
Yeah.
Is there, for President Cindy Cone, if you start to hear someone that obviously they have freedom of speech, but when you start to hear talk and they're having racist comments that are above just his opinion or his beliefs, is there a way that she could, or anyone in the council could just mute his microphone or take out the conversation? How does that kind of work? Hearing that, because I hear that he went on for 6-7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Yeah.
So is there's no way? Yeah, I want to kind of give me, myself, and everyone. How does that work
within the AGM? Everybody, the members that took part, it was sort of like a Zoom/presentation format, but everybody doesn't have access to video, and so if before voting on bylaws or voting on the vice presidency, they open the floor to individuals who want to speak their piece for or against anything. And then I guess you have to signal that you want to speak. They allow you to speak. They open your mic and then you say your piece. You can only hear the audio, that you don't see the video of the person. Mm-hmm. And so when it was his opportunity, that's when he started speaking. And it was, to say that it was longer than everybody else is an understatement, right? So he started going, and I feel that they were uncomfortable. So at one point they stopped him and was like, all right, we need to get past
30
this.
seconds.
And then he was like, wait. I got finished.
They told him he had 30 seconds left and he went on for another 3 minutes.
So
they allowed him to go on.
They tried to be polite and say, okay, we need to move on. And he was like, stiff-armed them and like, no, I got to finish this. And they were like, okay.
Mm-hmm. He's a tough guy, retired military. He's a former police officer. He did 3 tours in Afghanistan and Iraq. He's an MMA fighter. He fought in Asia as well as Europe. And he's a center forward like Gooch as a player. But Gooch,
which is all great, by the way. Nobody's downplaying anything he's done.
Yeah, my issue, tough guy. My issue is it was 2 hours after the vote that they had a press conference. Within those 2 hours, you can't tell me that the president didn't get debriefed or somebody didn't have a statement or have an issue and brought that up within those 2 hours. That's my issue.
At the end of the day, they obviously documented it because there's transcripts of it all over the internet in written form, right? So whether you heard it or didn't hear it, you definitely had an opportunity to read it, like everybody else. So for me, I think that it would have been a great opportunity for U.S. soccer to not take a neutral stance in this and to actually say if they condemn what he was saying or not, right? Which we haven't seen, with which is has transpired. But for me personally, it was something that I was offended by, and everybody's entitled to their speech. But one of the things that he said is that he'd support anybody if they do it on their own platform, in their own time, on their own platform. And he'd support whoever is kneeling or whatever. And my point is an appeasing protest is not a protest at all, right? Like, who's going to do a protest that appeases the people that you're protesting against, right? It makes no sense whatsoever. So basically you're saying you're entitled to your opinion or your actions as long as I'm good with it.
Yep.
Right. Which is ridiculous in any sense, whether it's an issue that I agree with or disagree with.
Moving to Pulisic, unfortunately, it came out this week that he liked one of John's former statements. I don't have it in front of me here, Gooch. I don't know if you have it, but the bigger question is, should Pulisic be ridiculed because he liked on Twitter a post that John put up?
I mean, at the end of the day, ridiculed or not, everybody's entitled to their opinion. If he truly liked it, he truly liked it.
You remember what the statement was?
It was saying something, I think, to the effect that Seth John said something about shooting or killing Antifa or something like that, like getting rid of Antifa. Don't quote me. It was something about getting rid of Antifa or shooting Antifa.
Can you find that, Bees, that tweet?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the day and age we live in now, right? How responsible are you for just liking the tweet? Because sometimes I can go over tweets and maybe hit the like button and then really read the whole thing. Or is that bullshit? Is that something that we can't look at it that way? We gotta say, listen, our former president was a big tweeter, and tweeting now is coming like the Bible, right? It's coming like a situation where it's almost like your profile. Mm-hmm. So how should we judge Christian moving forward with him liking this tweet?
I don't know. That's something you have to ask Christian, if that's what he really believes in. Because he in that article, he actually, he liked what Weston put up as well. Weston put up the
enough is enough.
Yeah, enough is enough. A Twitter post or IG post or whatever it was, and he liked that. So I don't know. That's something you have to ask Christian, his beliefs and what he believes in, and maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he didn't. I'm not trying to give Christian a pass, but I don't know.
Here's some of the past tweets from Seth John. In one tweet, he wrote, Islam, the religion of murder, hatred, slavery, and bigotry. Sad and pathetic. Here's another one. He goes, the most sensitive of races, no doubt. If someone asks me what color my ties are, I'd be compelled, frightened to reply with anything other than the darkest shade of gray in order to circumnavigate intricacies of their sensitivity, exhaustingly pathetic. Obviously talking about the Black culture and the Black race.
But he's for the people.
So in my thing is, like, obviously you have to go past in the past. And obviously what he did recently is whatever, but he kind of doubles down on his ideologies with saying his remarks about Islam, with saying that Black people as a race are pathetic, right? And you don't tell me that—
And sensitive.
And sensitive. Don't tell me that you're for us, you're with us, you'll do this, you fought for us, and you're telling that a race, not a person, a race is pathetic. Because that's the same ideologies that we're fighting against, why we're kneeling, because you think of this, right? So it's similar to this whole Black Lives movement. A lot of people are like, oh, I hate Black Lives Matter, the organization. I'm like, okay, the organization and the movement are completely different things, right? So what's the opposite of Black Lives Matter? People will say Blue Lives Matter. No, the opposite of Black Lives Matter is Black lives do not matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So don't saying Blue Lives Matter is a response, right? It's not the opposite. Like, of course, Blue Lives Matter. And first of all, there is no such thing as a blue life. It's police. Yeah, police, their lives matter. Nobody's saying they don't. Nobody will say, no, police lives don't matter. But the people that are against the Black Lives Matter movement will never say, yes, they matter. They'll always be like, everyone's lives matter. Okay, well then just say Black Lives Matter then. What's the problem with that? Why is it so offensive to you to confirm that my life matters, right? And that's my whole issue with this whole thing. I think people are so narrowed in their way of thinking, or I don't know, they're caught up in their own minds that they actually don't see the actual true problem and how it's not a problem from today or 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or even before we were born, before our parents were born, right? And so this is, like I said in the beginning, a systemic issue. This country systemically has suppressed minorities, and most specifically, Black people, since its existence. That's facts.
You know,
educate them, Gooch. Educate them.
I'm trying, man.
You know, Seth John is not only a person who sat on the U.S. Soccer Council. He was head of security for the U.S. Women's National Team in France, and served that position up until 2019. So this is a person who was around the U.S. soccer for many years, played a major role. You know, he was in charge of our security of our women's in France. You know, that was a very, you know, stressful time. And, you know, it just shows you how many people in the U.S. Soccer Federation, you know, we have to kind of vet, right? You have to go through again. We have to wash everybody out and start again, man. You know, to really get true equality, to get the right people in the right places, and to move forward correctly. We gotta start and build again.
Right. And it's not saying I would never downplay his service, right, in the military. I will never downplay whatever he said he was doing in anti-trafficking of women and children. Yes. Unbelievable work. You know, thank you for your service to the country. Your past successes do not take away from your current failures. Point blank, period, right? I can't be like, oh, I was so nice in middle school and I was valedictorian in high school, and then I murdered somebody now. But please think about what I did.
Remember I did before.
Remember what I did before. Don't judge me on now, right? I have to, because you took the initiative for us to see you. You took the initiative to verbalize and express how you truly feel. Not just once, but as Mookie was reading his past tweets and retweets, but on multiple occasions. So as you wanted people to know, you have to assume the response from the side that does not agree with you. Just like there are people that agree with him, and you've seen in his Instagram tweets, there's members of the national team that agree with him. And there's big personalities in media that agree with him. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, right? But just as people that are for you are entitled to it, people that are against you are entitled to it. Do I condone what he was saying? People were sending him death threats? 100% no, never, right? I will never verbally or physically threaten somebody, right?
Or condone violence.
Or condone violence of any sort, right? But I will also not condone the disinformation that someone is trying to spread to promote a platform. As he said, you know, I'm moving into the political area right now. And obviously he has a platform right now, which is his prerogative. But
he's going to be huge. He's gonna be
But
huge.
Mook, when were those tweets that you were reading? When did he make those? 2000 and
some were 2017, some were 2020.
Yeah.
So if he's saying these things in 2017 and he's posting it and people are liking it or not liking it, whatever. Do you think that there's a responsibility for U.S. soccer to not to follow their players and see actually what they're about and what they say, and actually have a conversation with them? Did we wait too long to actually find out who Seth John is?
Well,
That's kind of my question.
I think we knew who he is.
He's voted into a council. It's not U.S. Soccer that votes him in, right? It's us. It's his peers that voted him into that position, right? So it's a process. So to say that U.S. Soccer is responsible for him being on the athletes council is, I
was asking the question. It's
right,
but you said it's
It's a hard place to be in, because I was part of the same council that he was. I am part of the same council that he was. I had no idea about any of this until recently.
Right.
So egg on my face for not doing a deep dive from 4 years ago on this guy, but I'm not going to do that to anybody, because I take people at face value, what they present to me. And up until recently, that's not what I was presented with, right?
Yeah. I hear you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the room. A Jamaican Reggae Boys legend, MLS legend, 1996 A-League MVP. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the crack, Wolde Selassie.
Yo, you got your thing on mute.
Come on, take it off mute. Take it off mute.
You got the microphone on mute.
Yo, Wolde, you should be a pro at this by now, man.
I am, bro.
There you go.
Internet store here, brother. Internet store here. What's up, my peoples?
What up, Wolde? What's up, man?
What up, dude?
How you doing, man? It's been a while.
It's been a minute, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Good to see you.
Wally, tell me how you look younger than Bees.
Do what?
Hey, man.
Tell me how you look younger than Bees.
I don't know nothing about that, dog. Maybe it's just a beard. Dude, it ain't. Bees is like, yo, forever young, man.
Forever young.
Wolde, I see they still got you in the hotel, man. You haven't all the way transitioned yet, huh?
Yeah, well, it's a process, right?
Yeah.
And with the event of COVID and what's going on, there's all kinds of protocols and whatnot. So I've just been taking my time and just trying to do the best I can with transitioning with all this stuff going on. So I'm just taking my time. Plus, there's a lot going on in the front office. So that stuff going into preseason, I'm gonna just leave that housing stuff until I get back.
Are you in quarantine right now? Or are you just?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Okay.
Actually, I had COVID in January.
Oh, wow.
At the end of January. So I was fortunate enough to get past it, and right before we had to come in.
Any idea how you put it?
I'm working with the antibodies, man. No vaccine.
Yeah.
That sounds like a mixtape. So
that's the New York in you, man. That's the New York in you.
Back in your old stomping grounds, if people don't know, you started your professional career at the Colorado Foxes, correct?
That's correct.
And I have to give a shout out to Mr. Lawn, one of the legends in Colorado, still in Colorado. Have you guys got a chance to
Yeah, he's one of the first person that I went in contact with when I got in town. Sat down, just had a meeting, and just do the just chill out, talk football as usual. That's usually what we do all the time. So, yeah, man, he's cool. I met with him down in his club Real, and we just got caught up in all the goings on that's happening here in Colorado.
So people who don't know, sorry, Goose, people who don't know is that Wolde just got hired as the first team assistant for the Colorado Rapids, recently coaching the Switchbacks, where you were assistant coach for many years, and then you got a chance to be an interim head coach. I think we'll have to start off from there, and then we go back and then come back again and jump around. How you always jump around.
Yeah, back to the future here, dog.
Man.
Back and forth.
Congratulations, by the way.
Mookie don't have no structure, by the way. It's going to be jumping all over the place.
Listen,
we might be talking about Kingston street games by the.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I'm game for whatever.
But Wolde, what was that like going as assistant, getting the opportunity to be a head coach, and then the club decided to go a different route. Tell us about that process and how you dealt with it.
For me, it was a great experience. I think anyone that gets an opportunity to go in on the ground floor and help a club build a club from the ground up it's a unique opportunity. And I was fortunate that Steve Chichu picked me to be his assistant, and for 4.5 years, we put our blood, sweat, and tears into the club. And unfortunately, in the 5th year, halfway through the season, the club chose to go a different direction and offered me an opportunity. Me being the loyal person that I am, I wish I could have moved with him in some senses, but in other senses, it was an opportunity for me to fulfill a lifelong dream and becoming a head coach and experiencing that. So it was an interesting emotional space, to put it succinctly, without getting into some other stuff. But the opportunity was great. The players responded well. Obviously we didn't get the results that we wanted, but I think in that period of 17 games, I learned a ton. In terms of organizing the team, in terms of planning trainings, in terms of executing during the games and trying to transfer what we did in practice in the games, reflecting, going back and working at it again. And just seeing what it is from a managerial perspective and how much you're hands-on in almost every aspect of the soccer side of the club, not to mention the business side. So it was a very unique opportunity. I'm glad that I got it. At the end, the club chose to go a different direction, but that's fine as well. I think everything in life happens for a reason, and it's for your learning, for your progression. And you just have to look at it, reflect, and learn the lessons that are in that time period, and hopefully, you get another opportunity at it.
Wolde, would you say the biggest difference, because you just named it, like you were head coach, you're involved in all aspects. Would you say that's the biggest difference between the head coach position and the assistant coach, is that the head coach is like intertwined with everything?
Yeah, the head coach is involved with everything, and he kind of delegates what he wants, his assistants and everybody else to do, and fulfill those roles. And, it was eye-opening to see the amount of things that you really have to manage, and trust me, I was going to bed I was down at 11, up at 4.
Yeah.
It's wild. And so at this level, I can't even imagine. And I understand now why top clubs have to have a good staff and a good number of people in specific positions to be successful, to find some measure of success, because it's a lot of information.
Definitely.
Yeah, see, that's why I don't want to be a coach. All the things you just mentioned right there, I'm good. I like my space. I like the business side of it. The coaching, I know it's a lot of work.
Dude, I like my space too, but it's I love football. I love football, man. It's ridiculous. I love every aspect of it, and this for me. I'm playing the game outside the game in a different way. You know what I mean? So that's the attraction for me, because I still feel like I'm playing, but now I'm not doing the work. I'm having to give the information.
Would you say, like, because I think before you got this role at the Rapids, you were still working within the USL, and you were analyzing games, you're speaking. How did you like that experience on more the, I guess, presentation media side?
It was a little bit different. I had to adjust to it at first. I'm not necessarily the person that likes to, be on a microphone and be on TV or whatnot, doing this type of job. But I understood that I had to keep myself in the game. And the way the job came about was interesting to me, and it showed me that I was in the right place. You know what I mean? I was doing a private session actually with a kid on the field. And the guy that interviewed me for the game that we played with the Switchbacks versus Phoenix, I did an interview with him. He walked by me in the field, like, "Wolde, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I don't know this guy from Adam." You know what I mean? So, "Who are you?" He's like, "Yo, I interviewed you 3 weeks ago when you were the head coach of Switchbacks." I was like, "Really? Okay, cool. Nice to meet you." You get to put a face to a name. And this is Devin Kerr, by the way. And COVID hit. I took his number and everything, and COVID hit, and I was just like, "Well, what are you going to do now?" Because at the time, I was going to do the PME job for the match evaluator job for the MLS. I was going to run my own private session. I'm working with Roger Thomas with his clubs.
Spring. Right?
In the springs. Yeah. So I'm like, what are you going to do now that everything's shut down? And well, this is right before COVID. Sorry. And I called Devin. I was like, Devin, how'd you get into this job? And he was just like, well, oh man, the production company's here. Everything is done from here remotely. And I'd love to introduce you to the producer if you're interested. And that's how I got into it. And he put me on. Went in the first game, I was talking like this. And the producer came by, like, up. You know, you got to up your level of energy when you score a goal.
Man, yeah.
So
B's still trying to figure that out.
Man, and see, I'm telling you, well, I remember one time, I can't remember, I think it was a European League game when I was with CBS, and my producer was in my ear because, you know, my ear, I'm the same way all the time. You know, I am who I am. I can't act. I can't, wake up at 7 a.m. and have that TV personality, TV energy. You know what I'm saying? So I remember one time, I can't remember what game it was, and we were talking about. Then we had a commercial, and he's like, "Bees, hey, I know I don't want to change you, but you gotta give me some energy. You gotta give me." I guess I was on TV just looking like this. I have no idea, but I mean, I tried to give a little more energy, but I know exactly what you mean. Exactly.
Yeah, man, that was wild. So there was some learning in it, but the biggest part is that I got to watch games and analyze the games and analyze the tactics and interview the coaches and get, you know, more and more information, but from a different perspective, about the same sport, but from a different perspective. You know what I mean? So it kept me in the game, and it was great. It was an awesome experience. I got to meet some people, the people that are behind the cameras, that are saying the things that about me when I was playing. You know what I mean? I get to meet them.
You're like, say it now to my face.
Yeah.
Come again?
You're like, say it now to my face.
Right? No, there were some cool people, man. Some cool people. And they helped me out a bunch at Vista World Link down there in Florida. So I was happy to have that experience.
That's awesome, man. There's no such thing as a mistake, right? Like, you're in the right place at the right time for the right reason.
Yeah, I truly believe in that. Even if you're not having the best experience, it's for your progression as a person, and in your lifetime, you're bringing things towards you that, you know, will help progress you and evolve, make you evolve. So I just looked at it as learning more than anything else.
You know, Wolde, we here because we want to celebrate you. You know, we can't wait for somebody else to celebrate. When you got the job, and when Fraser hired you, it was so gratifying to hear that, right? Not only that you get an opportunity to coach on the MLS level, but also the you two brothers are coming together, who played together, who have so much history. And I think, you know, obviously you're going to do great things in Colorado, but we want to celebrate it. We want to let you know how great you are, but also the world to know how great you are, you know? And I want to sit here and ask you, why did you get into coaching? But I got to go further, a little deeper, knowing your family, knowing your history, and looking at my brothers on the same room. We all had strong fathers in our life who inspired, who were best friends of ours. Give us a little in depth of what your father, Jumpy Harris, meant to you in your development, especially in football.
Wow. He meant everything to me. You know, he meant everything to me, and especially not just as a father, but the person that introduced me to the sport. And it was his first passion and his love. You know, I mean, I saw how much he put into it and how much hard work he put into it to become the coach that he was, and to gain all the knowledge that he had about the sport after getting done playing the sport, you know. And it was more through watching him and the passion, and then him giving me little pointers here and there, kind of not really nudging me, but I was intrigued by what drove him.
He nudged you. He nudged you. He nudged you.
Yeah. In the sense that he never put pressure on me to go play. Okay. He never had to. You know what I mean? I was just intrigued by the way he approached, because the team was always in our house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 2-3 teams was in the house. So it was like this one big family. I'm like, all right, so when they leave here, what are they gonna do? I want to go and see. You know what I mean? So, and I was around it just 24/7. Plus, Jamaica is a place where you can't avoid it. You know what I mean? It's in the street. You play barefooted. You stub your toes. You come home with bloody feet. You know what I mean? You go right back out after you get something to drink. It's just, you know what I mean? You get rocks stuck in your toes and all kinds of junk. So you just can't avoid it.
Just
you know
like
what I mean? But as far as the influence, he was definitely influential in introducing me.
I used to hear about the legendary games in your backyard.
Oh,
it was like a stadium World Cup environment. Give us a little bit of input on what that was like, and you couldn't be anybody coming there to play.
Come again? Oh no, you could be anybody. To be honest, you could be anybody, but you had to, it'd be
Certain
trial
level.
by fire. You know what I mean? There ain't no breaks on it. Ain't no breaks on the game. So if you can't play, you're gonna get found out real quick. You know what you're doing, you're gonna get embarrassed. You know what I mean? Type of deal. But anybody could play. That's just how our household was. If you mentioned my name earlier in the podcast, and my name is Wolde Selassie, which if anybody knows anything about being a Rastafarian, Selassie is the man. You know what I mean? So, I got to plug this in. Give me 1 second. I got to plug my computer up to that.
See, everybody got computer problems today.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, can we talk about yours?
Nah, I don't want to talk about it. You will ever be Wi-Fi bees, man?
Nah. Gooch, Wi-Fi Gooch.
It happens once. I came
back. We're lucky, man. We're lucky. We're this close. We're this close. No, but as I was saying, anybody that knows anything about being a Rasta, the culture is all about one love, and and it's about inclusivity and acceptance of people and living in a loving environment and accepting people. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of people that came around us that didn't play soccer, that just wanted to be around the entire group just because everybody was, the vibes. So, we had a whole bunch of different people there. You had musicians, you had artists, you had, people that did dub poetry, you had people that, were the highest ranking CEOs and big companies that are in Jamaica in our circle and at those games, those backyard games, you know what I mean? But it was fun, man. It was really, really fun.
When did you lose your accent, buddy?
No, I can't change them all. I'm doing this for you guys as fans and everybody else out there. Doing it for the
fans. Professional.
Get me.
This guy, he's got to be an actor, just switching on and off when he needs.
He can talk Spanish too.
Yeah. That's tripping.
That's what's up. Wolde, so me, I connect with you on a whole different level. Obviously, we're Tigers, right?
Yeah, go Tigers.
And when I came to Clemson in 2000, I had never met you, never knew of you. Wolde Harris. Listen, Wolde, I was like, who's this Wolde Harris? You were such a phenom in Clemson history. I was like, he's got to be American. This guy got to be American, with the scoring record and everything. And it was almost like a shadow to live up to the player that you were in Clemson. Tell me about your experience. I love Clemson every second of it. Tell me about how it was when you were there.
I got my ring on, bro. Don't leave it.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
How did you get to Clemson initially, though?
I went, it's kind of not such a long story, but a good friend of mine, Jamal Green, we grew up together in Jamaica, played every level of international soccer, U12s through the senior team. We moved together to Florida. We moved in with my parents. We did 2 more years of high school at Winter Park High School in Orlando. Mm. And he got in our senior year, he got recruited to Clemson. I got recruited to UConn. Mm. And the whole purpose of moving to the United States at that time is to move to that tertiary level education. You know what I mean? And we both got full rides. And a good friend of mine that I actually played elementary school ball with went to UConn. And so I had that kind of big brother thing going on. I was just like, all right, he can mentor me through this, see my way.
Who was that at UConn?
This is Michael Saunders. I'm not sure. Michael Saunders.
Okay. And he went to Vaz?
He went to Vaz Prep. He was a big time scorer at Vaz Prep. Dude scored goals every which way. And I was like, all right, so I have a mentor here, and Jamal got a full ride to Clemson, and I got a full ride to UConn. So I was playing midfield at the time. I was playing the 10, and after about 5 or 6 games, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna get what I need to get to go where I need to go here. You know what I mean? And after the season, I spoke with the coach and I was like, listen, I think I need to be in the ACC. I think I need to transfer. So I called Jamal. I was like, yo, talk to the coach and see if he needs somebody down there. I'll ride the bench. I'll do whatever.
Wait. Ray Reid allowed you to leave UConn?
This wasn't Ray Reid. This was Joe Maroney. This is pre-Ray Reid. I'm showing my age now.
Yeah. I didn't realize you went to UConn for 1 year.
I went to UConn for 1 year. And then I called Jamal. I was like, yo, check the coach. I'll see if I get my release, blah, blah, blah. And at the time, the coach was I am Ibrahim. God rest his soul. Both him and Maroney passed, so God rest both their souls. But I appreciated him. He was a good person, but just not the coach to get me where I wanted to go. And I recognized that. And I was just like, listen.
Let's keep it real. Was he playing kick and run football?
No, he wasn't. he wasn't. And to be fair, I was the only freshman to start all the games. But the information that I was getting wasn't giving me the right things for me to improve as a player. You know what I mean? In all aspects of the game. And coming from my dad, who's a person who's very meticulous at, and he analyzes every aspect of the game. I know what good coaching, good information looked like from a very young age.
I want to be clear that people have to realize that Jumpy Harris was a prolific goal scorer at Michigan State, right? and excelled at NASL.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer there, man. Co-national champion 2 years running. It's crazy. I never knew much about it until he got inducted, and I had to go there to represent him because of his, he has some challenges health-wise. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know he did all this. I was like, from Kingston to the tropics to East Lansing. Man, you kidding me? You know what I mean? Lansing, Michigan. It was crazy. And he achieved a lot there. You know what I mean? So he was a big inspiration.
Well, you coming from Jamaica going to South Carolina in the country, I mean.
Well, it's a different. He went to Connecticut back
down
south.
That was. I tell you what, it was more interesting northeast than it was down south.
Oh wow!
Oh, wow.
To be fair, to be real, I should say. I mean, we'd walk past. I wouldn't walk past, but that was a culture shock to me when I see people of my own kind walking by me, not saying, "Yo, what up? How you doing?" Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like going about my business, and I was just like,
"That's really? So true. That's so true."
Wow, which is and I was just like, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. And then I moved to the South, and everybody's like, "Morning, how you doing?" Yeah. You know what I mean? I was like,
now you got another accent.
So plus Clemson is a place, and Gucci could tell you that the athletes are like, top of the chain. Not just the athletes, but the people in general. When you're in that little community, it's like everybody's equal. You know what I mean? It's more like a family environment more than anything else. And I said this when I got inducted in 2017. I said the biggest thing for me when I went to Clemson is that everybody respected you, no matter what you look like, no matter how, where you came from. You had that mutual respect. And coming from Jamaica, that's a big deal. We put a big premium on respect. You know what I mean? Whether it's just good morning or opening the door or saying thank you or please or stuff like that.
Acknowledgement. Yeah.
That's
but
big.
You think you had the same treatment if you weren't an athlete at Clemson?
I think so, because I see how people outside of the athletic circles were with each other, and they were the same way.
I don't know if Gucci agrees with that.
Gucci probably had a different experience because different time. But when I went there, it didn't. I had nothing. This is not to say I'm not trying to paint the picture that racism doesn't exist there. You know what I mean? Or some implicit stuff doesn't exist. It's just that the interactions that I have, I didn't really experience that.
Mm-hmm. I can double down on that, but I would say I always wondered, because I tell people my experience at Clemson was unbelievable. And like Wolde said, if you're part of the athletic department, it's like you're on a different pedestal.
You're royalty. Yeah.
And so I always wondered, I was like, what would my experience have been like if I was a regular student body and not in the athletic department?
Right.
Because, like you said, you're in the South, there's certain biases that are inherent down there. And, even just speaking of fraternities and sororities, they're on their own separate spectrum. Yeah. So the Black fraternities, the predominantly Caucasian fraternities and sororities as well. And I can remember me and Ricky Lewis. We'd go to party. Yeah, we'd go to party sometimes. It was like the record stopped when we walked in, and everyone, and we'd be like, "Okay, it's time to go." So, but like you said, we were always treated with respect. But I always wondered, like, how would the experience have been had I not been a soccer player on like a really good soccer team? You know what I mean?
Right.
But always had that question.
But Wolde, you used to having the attention and being the famous athlete. When I was a kid, I said, I'm wearing my purple, by the way.
Yeah, respect.
As a kid, I got to watch Wolde play in high school in Jamaica for Kingston College. And the man walked around like he was a celebrity anyway. So you used to that treatment. Right or wrong?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. For me, I just love scoring goals, and goal scoring takes a certain amount of confidence, and in some small weird ways, a certain level of narcissism. You know what I mean? You have to be like so into what you're doing and saying you're the best, you're the best, you're the best to yourself all the time that sometimes you exude stuff that you don't really want to show. You know what I mean?
Did you have Slatomism?
I didn't have it to his extent because I think his thing is self-defense mechanism on steroids. You know what I mean? It's like he doesn't allow anybody to move into that space where it's going to threaten his, confidence, his emotional center. He's going to fight he's going to fight like nothing to and he said that in his book. Actually, he's like, listen, I can't let nobody in here. I gotta knock them out before they get anywhere close to this. You know what I mean? And he had to go through some hard times in his life to get to where he was. So I understand why he is the way he is, although he says some crazy off the wall stuff. But
Goose, did you read his book?
I Am Zlatan.
Did you read his book?
I heard Goose got a signed copy.
Yeah, straight up.
No, Gooch signed the copy for him. So I understand why you two battled, though. I understand.
No, he's a great athlete, and like you said, to be at any level as a striker, you have to have a certain level of narcissism, right? And you were prolific. I mean, who goes to Clemson 3 years and in 3 years takes the all-time, even to date, scoring record? What was it, 76 goals?
You'll never see like that again.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
But one thing, people look at the goal scoring, but people don't look at the people that are providing the opportunity.
Yada. No. I'm for real too.
I was a box forward, dude. I was a box forward.
Listen.
He didn't leave the 18-yard box.
I didn't leave the 18,
bro.
He was a bully.
Listen. You can be. Obviously, we know it takes delivery and service, but it also takes strength, skill, confidence, like a certain level of calm to be able to bury it all consistently, right? Because anybody can have a great game and have like a hat trick once, like 76 goals in 3 years.
I was mad when I came off the field and I didn't score like 4 or 5. I was pissed off.
Yeah.
That was just because my goal as a kid since I could remember, I was watching that Pele, and it put me back in a real emotional space because my idol was Pele growing up. I used to watch his videos, and when I saw him walk out with his he could barely walk and all that, I got, it was crazy to me. But from when I was a kid watching him, I always knew I wanted to be a professional soccer fan. That was the end goal. And my dad told me, listen, a good coach never leaves a goal scorer on the bench. You know what I mean? So for me, in my fundamentals, it's written, score as many goals as you possible. Can score. You know what I mean? So that was what drove me. So I worked on my game to the point where I could score in any which way. That's how I wanted to, it to be. So the people around me at the time they were awesome people, man. You're talking about Nadal Baba, Miles Joseph, Imad Baba, Rivers, Guthrie. And our defense was solid. We played against people schools like Virginia with Claudio Rainey at the time, and even Greg Berhalter was at, Eddie Pope was at North Carolina, Jason Price was at Duke. So it's high level competition. You know what I mean? Yeah, ACC was where it was at, and I was just like, that's why I said I needed to get to there in order to push myself to the space that I needed to be in order to make it to the next level. And I knew goal scoring to take me there some way, shape, form, or fashion. So I just wanted to score as many goals as possible. And when I went there and Ebe said, listen, you just stay up front and we'll get you the ball, I was like, it wasn't until Trevor Adair came in, God rest his soul, again, all my coaches, man, that showed me the defensive side of the game, because I didn't want nothing to do with the defensive side of the game. I just wanted to put the ball in the net, period. To get me the ball here, the rest of the game, y'all could go play.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, when you were talking about, how you kind of wanted to be a forward. And, you know, when you got mad if you didn't score 4 or 5, you got upset with yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's when you know, that's in my opinion, that's when you know you have a good forward in your squad. Because I've been around forwards that they score 1 goal, you know, in a game and we win or lose, they happy. They cool, they good. And like, oh man, you know, I did my job. I'm cool. I scored a goal. I'm good. But the good forwards, the really good forwards that have a knack for scoring goals, I have that extra brain in their head that scoring goals is what they is their life, what they want to do, what they feel they have to do, you know, for them to win. So I think there's a very, you know, a fine margin of a good forward and a great forward, is because they always want more. You know, you saying that just reminded me of some players that were always happy just scoring a goal. You know, oh man, I scored a goal, I'm good. You know, but what about the other 2 or 3 chances that you missed? You know,
tell them about your left foot shot.
That's why Gooch never made it as a forward. He was happy. He was happy with his one goal.
With the 1 goal.
As a defender, I'm gonna be thrilled with that 1 goal. Okay, anytime.
Hey, sir, look at Sergio Ramos, dude. That dude scores goals, bro. He scores goals. But that also showed me when I needed to quit, because I didn't have the same. I was accepting just the same thing with Bees. I've moved into that space, Bees, in that I was happy just scoring 1 goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was just like, that's not you. That's not why you came here. You know, maybe it's time you reevaluate what's going on here.
Right.
And that's what I thought about when I was 32. I was just like, all right, now was that time, because the things that usually drive you to be, you know, who you are, and especially on the pitch, it's diminishing. It's not there anymore. And then the game also evolved too.
So Wolde, what happened, since you're talking about you playing, what happened when you went to Kansas City Wizards after scoring so many goals and being so important to New England Revolution? You went over to the Wizards and didn't get as many games, and then jumped overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a little bit about what was going on in that time period with your body, you as a player, and your lifestyle.
Well, the game had evolved, especially in the MLS. It was a lot faster. I wasn't the fastest forward. I was quick over 10 to 12 yards, and, you know, just to get the shot off or get behind the back 4. But I wasn't the fastest forward. And my fitness as well, my conditioning wasn't always the best because of my body structure. And to be honest and fair, I just didn't put in enough work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? As the game evolved, to stay fit enough to do the things that I need to do, you know, within the game, and to get those opportunities. That's not to say that Kansas City gave me opportunities. I was playing with Preki and Josh Wolf was out at the time, but guys like Davey Arnaud and Steve Armstrong and some of these other guys that, you know, provided opportunities. But I just wasn't the best in terms of adapting to the game. And it changed on me, you know. The opportunities came, but I wasn't ready because I wasn't doing enough reps and what have you. Maybe my lifestyle off the field played a part in it as well. But I noticed that gradual, you know, diminishing, and I was like, all right, maybe you need a new challenge. You know what I mean? So I got cut from Kansas City 4 days before the opening game.
Mm.
And that emotionally, that was wild. You know what I mean? But I was like, well, you just look for the next opportunity. It came in Charleston, and I played a couple games with Charleston, but their style of play didn't suit me either. And then after that, I went to Sweden. I got an opportunity to go to Sweden and team up with Brian Dunseth at Boden, BB Cool. A lot of Americans have been over there.
Who put that together?
Well. Yeah, from the New England Revolution. I did well, scored a couple goals there as well. Had a great experience. Always wanted to play in Europe or anywhere, you know, across the pond. And I checked that box with that move. And then I came back to the Rapids in 2005, and, you know, not a lot of playing time. I was playing with guys like Peguero, John-Philippe Peguero, and Jeff Cunningham. And those two guys, if you know them, they're super fast. Them boys can move.
Yeah.
Them boys can move. So the style of play wasn't the hold up, knock it back, get in behind. You know, it wasn't the play in, play out wide, get in the box, head it down. It was more isolation, use the
Turn
speed.
and go.
Yeah, Bees knows. Bees was doing the same thing for Chicago at the time. You know what I mean? And then guys like Damani came in. It was even more. It was like more speed. Where the league was going was more like what the English game was at the time. It was speed, and still to this day. So it didn't really suit my, my characteristics. And I was just like, all right, now it's time to kind of slide out of there. You know what I mean? So
no, I think that's important because a lot of players don't know to say when, right?
It's not easy, bro.
Yeah, it's not easy. Trust me, I know. And it goes for different reasons. You know, some players will do it because mentally they're just not there anymore. Some players will do it because they're physically not there anymore. And some players just don't want to accept either and just like ride it till the wheels literally fall off. You know what I mean? I think I think personally it takes a strong, mentally strong athlete to be secure with themselves, to be like, all right, that's enough. I'm good. You know, because if not, there's going to be some residual effects after after you do so. And I've seen it with some of my friends, you know, they just, you know, they can't accept that it was the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It took me about 2 years to really move past that space. And kids are what really did it for me, because I went back to Vaz Prep, as you mentioned earlier in the podcast. And I took that job as a head coach there. And
did you win? You won, right?
Yeah. I think I'm still the only past student to ever come back coach and win, which is wild to me, because there's so many great players that came out of that institution. You know what I mean?
And B's prep school football in Jamaica is big. Like you'll get a couple 100 people come out for the game.
And they ain't no joke. The fans are no joke. Parents are no joke, man.
Yeah,
they cuss you quick.
Yeah, quick in a heartbeat. Especially if they friends and their kids ain't playing. Oh man, that's worse than the
did you ever go through depression after playing?
Yeah, slightly. But what I did was I kept playing, but I wasn't playing in the public view. It was backyard games.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I mean, I got an offer to play in Jamaica quite a few times from my buddies down there coaching. I was just like, no matter how much you pay me, I can't do that. I'm not gonna go out there and misrepresent myself or whatever. And so I had to stay away from it. It was tough. It was really, really tough. And not knowing not going out, having a plan to go on to that next step was an interesting space to be in for a couple of years. And I ran into some of the hiccups here and there that went through some trials and tribulations. But I just feel like that old adage, "What doesn't kill you make you stronger," is real. Because you learn from it.
Definitely. I can't mention your name if I'm mentioning Andy Williams and Tyrone Marshall.
Yeah, crazy. I was talking to Tyrone just last night.
You guys represent a Caribbean movement that really helped and sparked the MLS and gave it talent and gave it the energy it needed. But talk a little bit about what it was for you guys to play on the Jamaican national team, having to go abroad, playing college. You were treated a little differently, don't you agree?
Yeah, in some regards, yes. Obviously the people that are in your country that are playing the same sport that you are and want the opportunities that you had, obviously they have a thing in Jamaica that say bad mind. It's not really, and I don't really take it, negatively. I just look at it as this person wants what I got or the opportunity that I got, you know what I mean? And they may look at you and, and say, well, why didn't I get that opportunity? But I believe in that you make your own luck, and it takes a lot of hard work to do that, So they didn't see that point. They only saw the success. They didn't see what happened behind the scenes. So they, you got treated differently, not necessarily by the players, but by the people that are in and around that make decisions. You know what I mean? And those decisions obviously influence your experience of the, of the whole thing. And it is what it is. I didn't, as I always say when they interview me about this, I was like, I'm just happy that I created those relationships. You know what I mean? Because that's what's enduring. That's what lasts a lifetime, is the relationships that you have with the people. You know what I mean? So I'm still good friends with Tapa to this day, and a lot of the guys that we played with the national team. But I think also that's just part of the gig. Football, you're not going to get treated fairly any which way you slice it. Anywhere you go, you're going to get treated a certain way. You're not going to you just got to expect that and be able to deal with it.
Definitely. Yeah, man. Again, we just want to, so excited that you got this opportunity, this job, to put your impact back into Colorado. Tell us a little bit to the people What are you looking forward to this season? And, the feeling that obviously getting the position from Mr. Frazier, what was going through your head, and how excited are you?
Yeah, I gotta send a big shout out to Rob. Because he was very honest, open, and forthright with me when I was with the Switchbacks, and he got the job. I called him to congratulate him, and he was just like, "Listen, I know we've had this relationship, yada yada yada, but we'd love to work with you, but the timing, da da da." And I was just like, "Yo, I understand. I totally understand." Because when I took over the Switchback, I had stuff flying at me from left, right, center, all over the place. So I was just like, "Do you? I'm gonna support you. You know what I mean? Whatever you need, my phone's open. Let's keep contact." But I was talking to Robin from he was at Toronto. Just questioning him about tactics, especially when they won. What'd you do to win? What'd you do off the field? Just picking his brain. You know what I mean? So I think over time he realized that I was really, really driven and interested in being at this level. And it's interesting, my progression through USL to come into the MLS, and it's the same pathway in my coaching experience. It's just wow, the correlations. You know what I mean? Now this opportunity came up, and he was just like, "Hey, what do you want to do?" And I was just like, "I want to be a head coach in the league one day. You know what I mean? I see this league going far." And he was just like, "All right, well, we'll talk. We'll keep talking." And in December, I got a call from him. He's like, "Can you available to go to dinner?" I was like, "Yeah, let's go to dinner."
Who else was at that dinner?
Just me and him.
Okay.
Just me and him. And we talked football. We talked more about, what we believe in and what our values are, and, how we approach the game, and, blah, blah, blah. And he said, "Listen, there's some opportunities, and, I'll get back to you." I was like, "All right, no problem." I didn't go into it with any expectation, to be honest. And when he called me up, probably about a week later, I was just sitting on the cuffs like,
crazy.
Wow, crazy how this works. You know what I mean? Because when I left the Switchbacks, I said, and I didn't get the job, I said, "Well, at least you get to go home for a year, self-reflect, be with your daughter, have a good time. But a year from now, I want to be back in the game."
Yeah.
And it was almost to the date. It's wild. It's wild. That's why I said nothing happens, by happenstance. Everything is set up, but you got to put the first thing you have to do is commit to hard work behind it. You know what I mean? And take that first step, because it takes courage.
Yes.
But the willpower is in every step that follow that. You know what I mean? And then it seems like the universe just works for you. So I'm just looking to fulfill what the universe has brought me. You know what I mean? And Robin's given me the opportunity to do that. So I'm gonna give him everything I got. And it's been great. It's been great so far. To be honest, it's like learning.
I want to ask you real quick, because you said it earlier that nobody sees the process; they only see the finished product. And so I think a lot of fans or people might be like, "Oh, how did Wolde Harris get to Colorado Rapids out of nowhere?" Right? And I think we just illustrated this whole time how it wasn't out of nowhere, right? You've been putting in the work and the grind for multiple years. You're like a staple in the state, right? It's almost a question how you haven't been a part of the Rapids up until this point, right? And so I would say, I'd say congratulations. We look up to you. I look up to you. We all look up to you. One, as a Black man in this sport at a higher position, but two, for the grind and the resilience in order for you to get to this point, right? So, you're our support system, we're your support system, and we're always going to be cheering behind you, man. So I appreciate your story and your successes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate all you guys, man. We all know the struggle. We all know the struggle, and we all know what it takes. But I really appreciate, you guys saying these things, because that means a lot. That means that, what I've been doing over the years has been, it's not for nothing. You know what I mean? People
Definitely
recognize that it doesn't, this stuff, it doesn't just come to you. It takes hard work, it takes grind, and it takes some emotional despair and running through those areas of self-doubt and craziness in your head. But if you stick to the road and you keep putting that sweat behind it, you create your own luck. And I really appreciate you guys recognizing that.
Appreciate you. Listen, the PR team for Colorado Rapids is texting us, telling them you got to go.
Yeah. You see me looking at the phone. I got 15
exactly.
minutes to be here.
So thank you again, brother.
I appreciate you guys. Take care of yourself and one love.
Hey, man. Good luck, Wolde. Good luck, man. Good to see you, bro.
Respect. The legend. The legend. Yeah, man. I mean, we have so much to get talked to Wolde about, but we'll have him back on for part 2, definitely, especially the middle of the season when he's pulling his hair out, dealing with the coaching life,
And that's one thing I'll say about when he touched on Robin, just how, kind of how he is as a person. I remember, it's a quick story. I remember when I first signed with the Galaxy. And I was a 16-year-old kid. I think I went into the team when I just had turned 17, and I went to LA to train for 2 weeks in my summer break because I was still in high school. And I remember getting to the locker room, which we were training at the Rose Bowl, and going around meeting all the players. And I see Hermosillo, I see Cienfuegos, I see Kobe Jones, I see Rob, I see all these great players that I looked up to. And saw, on TV, and really the only one person, not saying anyone else is bad, but the only one person that actually offered, his guidance and like more of a friendship was Robin. He invited me to dinner. I'm a 17-year-old snotty kid, trying to come in and take somebody's position. And I remember I went to dinner with him. It was him and his wife and Greg Vanny as well. Wow. But Robin was like a big brother. I remember he was the one that kind of took me under his wing and said, "Okay, this is how you do this." It was only for 2 weeks. But he went beyond a teammate and was like, "Hey, I know this kid is only 17. He's on his own. He's in LA. I'm gonna take this kid. I'm gonna invite him to dinner." And that's what he did. And I don't think I've ever told Robin how much I appreciate it. Maybe he doesn't remember that, but I still remember that to this day. I'm 38 years old, about to be 39. And to this day, I still respect Robin, just for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't have to do that.
Class
for me
act,
being a kid. He's a class act. And I wish them, Wolde, Robin, I wish them nothing but the best this year with Denver and Colorado.
Definitely, man. But listen, if you haven't checked out my interview with Robin Fraser, please do. It's on the United Soccer Coaches Association's website. And, he just gave some great, just as Wolde did today, right? We didn't have to ask. I wanted to ask Wolde, what would you tell up and coming coaches? But he gave so many gems. And again, it's a pleasure speaking to Wolde. And we want to wish the best of luck to Colorado Rapids. And hopefully we'll be out there doing a live show. Maybe we can interview Robin live in Colorado this summer when it opens up. You coming out, Bees?
I'm coming. I'm there. I'm there.
Cool. All right, fellas. Well, thank you so much, everybody, listeners, the crew. Please, what do you usually say, Bees, at the end of the show?
Well, subscribe,
like, rate,
subscribe, rate us. Get your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your milkman to listen.
They still got milkman? They still do that?
I think in Fort Wayne they do.
Ah, goodness. Here we go.
All right, y'all. Peace and love.
Peace.